Welcome to the Box Score Sports Podcast.
Besides the series. Oh, okay. Let's move on to the Cavs and the Pacers. So game one, we know the Cavs lost, and then they proceeded to lose Hunter and Mobley as well, injured. Garland is still injured. So come out game two, they have a big lead, 20 some points, and then the Pacers just come roaring back. I don't know. Now the Pacers win off a Halliburton three, and the Pacers win 120 to 119. Thoughts?
One, the Pacers have to be like the luckiest team we have seen in a long time.
Okay. Yeah.
Like, even how they ended the regular season, like they had that Minnesota game where Obi Toppin had like 8 threes and he had like a falling out of bounds corner three with a few seconds left. Like, yes, you create some of it because they're really good in these situations, but that was a very disappointing end from Cleveland. Again, like game one, like had a little bit of the shooting variance, and I was like, oh, okay, well, the Pacers were hot. Cleveland kind of bricked it from three. They were in that game, so it is what it is. This game started out kind of how I thought. Like Cleveland turned it up. They were playing really good, and then they just ran out of gas, and they were making bonehead plays. Not boxing out on free throws, like just little things like that. That they basically ended it like you were watching an NCAA tournament game with like a mid-major school that just didn't belong. And with the injuries that they have, and Donovan Mitchell played a ton of minutes and took a ton of shots, and he got banged up 2 or 3 times in this game. It was alarming.
Yeah, you know what? When me and Chris, no, me and you previewed this game, I said this is the time for the Pacers to show up. I want to see it. Nobody's injured. They're ready to go. Garland's injured now. Hunter and Mobley. That's where I thought you were going with like them being lucky. Is like they seem to run into these teams with all these injuries. Last season, that was the big thing. So then first round in this series, Dame gets injured, even though he entered the series with the blood clots, but then he got injured with the ace Achilles, and then now you got these Garland injured for 2 games, and then now Mobley and Hunter are injured, and then like you mentioned, Mitchell looked like he was banged up. That's where I thought you were going with this. Now, not only that, but I said that I don't think the Cavs are going to shoot 23% from three again. They were I think this percentage-wise, the second best 3-point team in the league during the season. They shot 28% from three tonight. That's not like I didn't think they'd shoot that bad. Like I knew they would be better, but I thought they would be shooting like 35, like something like that percent. And if they would just shoot 35%, they would have won the first 2 games, but they're not even doing that. You could even say 30%. Let's see here. Just the last 57 seconds, 3 offensive rebounds, including the one you mentioned, which was the free throw and the game winner that led to the game winner off of two off of free throws. They had the offensive foul that Mitchell got, which led to a turnover, and then an inbounds turnover. So they were unable to get he threw it up and to the wrong team, which I thought was crazy. So yeah, you're right. Like the Cavs. Now, I want to give Pacers credit. They took advantage of all those opportunities, but the Cavs really shot themselves in the foot down the stretch in this game. The Cavs just took advantage of all of it.
Cleveland seemed so intent on not throwing it. Like if you're going to throw it up, just throw it up to Jared Allen.
Right.
I mean, he's not a terrible free throw shooter. Like sometimes I think the Cavs, especially today, were like so focused on it's got to get to Mitchell, it's got to get to Strus or whatever, and at some point, just get it into someone. And sometimes you just have to hope they make one. But this is where, when we talk about the Pacers, they are just so consistent and relentless that it just wears teams down.
It's true.
If you just play at that pace or that style, you have big ebbs and flows, and they go through stretches where it looks bad, and you go through stretches where a team gets tired, but you just play your pace and they wear down.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Great point. And I do want to give Halliburton a ton of credit. Like 8 points, he was relatively as far as the scoring option for most of the game. He was relatively quiet. He even only had 4 assists, so it's not like he did a whole lot to affect the game until the end. So the last 2 minutes, he had 8 points, including the game winner, and I think a couple free throws. Obviously, three of them were free throws, and then he had two layups. Maybe I added that wrong. Maybe it was 10 points, but it was two layups, free throws, and the game-winning three. So like he showed up when it mattered the most, and that was a great step back three that he nailed over Allen. I don't understand the switching. I just like last minute of the game, I'm telling my guys, you don't switch, you hang on because he wants Allen covering him because he's going to get that step back on him every time.
Yeah, it's just and scouting report too. They were down. They were up 2. So if you're Jared Allen, the last thing you want is a 3.
Yeah.
So just if he blows by you, all right, we go to overtime.
Mm-hmm.
But instead, and similar with Giannis, he sets you up and then you let him go way right for a layup. But the shooting has been bad. Mitchell was 2 for 18 in this series from 3.
Mm.
And I think he really, because he puts forth quite a bit of effort. Like he was just toast at the end of that game. And without Garland, I think that throws off. Obviously you get less open threes. You have one less shooter out there. So they're in a world of trouble. And maybe I missed it because I picked Cavs in 5.
Oh, me
for
too.
Most of this game, I feel like it went how I kind of thought. The Cavs got their wake up call, but maybe I missed how bad Garland's toe was
Mm-hmm.
because I just assumed he was going to, lace it up game 1. But you're in a big hole down 0-2. And if Garland isn't going to be 100%, how much do you actually help in a series against the Pacers where they just keep, running stuff to get switches, run it down your throat, push it up on you, pressure you. I think this one might be quick, but in the way we didn't pick.
Yeah. So if that happens, I gotta just stop going against the Pacers at some point. But I mean, to be 100% fair, I'm gonna defend my own thoughts. Is like if I would have known Garland would have been injured, I probably would have picked a Cavs still in like 6 or 7 games. Because Garland's instrumental to their ball movement. He's more of the playmaking guard, facilitating guard, where Mitchell is more of like the scoring guard, the two guard. And now with Mobley and Hunter out, it's like, well, yeah, if you gave me all those things, I don't know what their status will be for game 3, but that'll be interesting to watch. I just wanted to add too that Ty Jerome has been one of the most disappointing the first 2 games after he kind of was a bit like he wasn't a big reason they blew out the Heat, but he had a lot of numbers against the Heat. Right now, he's shooting 26% from the field in this series, including tonight's game where he was 1 of 14 from the field. 1 of 14. You make 2 of those baskets. If you're 3 of 14, you win the game. That's simple. And I don't understand what was going on with him and his play. But what 8 of 20 the first game and 1 of 14 the second game. Too much Ty Jerome right now because they don't have Garland.
Yeah, it's the shooting variance can always change because Cleveland is way outlier to the downside right now, and they're a really good team.
Mm-hmm.
So even if you don't get Garland back, if you can get at least Mobley back defensively, like for most of this game, the Cavs looked like the Cavs that we thought.
Yeah.
So it's not over. Obviously, game 3 is a do or die because you can't go down 3-0.
Correct.
But if that shooting variance switches back for them, and you can get, even if you can get back to Cleveland 3-1, getting that game and getting that confidence back. At this point, is pretty much all they got to look forward to.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Just real quick, I do just want to make one complaint. I'm not like, you can always go a call here or there, but that Mitchell foul when he went straight up and gave Halliburton, I thought that was the most ridiculous call of the game. Like, come on, guys. Like, there was nobody around him. It wasn't like it was like cluttered. It wasn't the most ridiculous call, but it was a bad call. That's all I'm saying. Like, he clearly went straight up. And I don't understand why that was a foul call. And then like the offensive foul, I totally understand you got to call that. But if you watch what happened, before that, like Nimhard kind of like gets in underneath his armpit with his hands, and then Mitchell tries to like get over on the right side so he could start dribbling. And then so it was kind of like a defensive foul before it was actually an offensive foul. So I just wanted to say like that those were the only two things that I'm like, I didn't really like that. As far as especially the Mitchell straight up one, I understand hitting the head. So just wanted to call that out. Not great.
Another impact of not being able to inbound the ball is you don't have a timeout there because you win that challenge and you had the ball. Like he dropped it and the Cavs were about to pick it up.
Yeah.
When they called it, and the only thing that got me with the elbow to the face was they were like it was a basketball move, so it's not a flagrant. Which I'm fine if they call it that way. Then I'm like, I think Giannis has like 3 flagrants where he does a Euro step, but his elbow catches someone in the face, and they're like, flagrant 1. And I was like, I mean, that's a basketball move too. It's not like he's, Draymond Greening his elbow out. So I get why they did it because it's the closing minutes of the game. Again, the refs were doing we don't want to decide the game. But if your reasoning is it's a basketball move, then a lot of flagrants that you see, like when they call it on the offensive player, are basketball moves.
Yeah.
Shouldn't be a flagrant.
My theory is that they saw the foul before the offensive foul and they're like, okay, we probably should, because he like jumped right in. Like if you watch it full speed, he jumps into him, and then you watch it like in slow motion, he gets his hands like underneath his armpits, like he's holding him. It's like, and I understand like they're letting them play, but like what if a defensive foul leads to an offensive foul, then you probably should call the defensive foul. But that's neither here nor there. That's why I think they didn't call it a flagrant. Is my opinion, but
fair.
Okay. Let's move on. We're both worried about the Cavs, obviously. I think we both had them in 5. We'll see what happens. Okay, let's move on to the next series. Thanks so much for watching this clip of the Box Score Sports podcast. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you haven't yet, please subscribe to our channel. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter or X. And we'll talk to you guys real soon. See ya.